Hey, what's up, new school Dungeons and Dragons 5e players and dungeon masters? I want to have a talk with you about old school tabletop role-playing games. Now, I know your views. You're action-packed, kicking-ass games, right? Short sessions, short campaigns. Maybe you're satisfied with what you're doing. And I bet you look at old school games like, oh, that's about survival. I bet you a lot of what you're told or what you hear sounds lame. I totally get it. And from your point of view, I can totally see where you're coming from. Right? Well, let me tell you a few things that I think might change your view. First off, I would tell you, you're assuming. And I would say there's some things that will break your assumption if given the opportunity. And when you give things opportunity, the other thing I would say is take it serious. Buy in. Give things a real chance before just playing on your assumptions. Like, just don't sit at the table and go, this is going to suck. I'll tell you it doesn't. First off, when it comes to combat, you play with a combat format with a lot of action. Action economy. It slows your game down. But if you haven't played anything other than that, you might think that's pretty good. It's pretty fast. I'll tell you this, most old school combat is way faster. Oh, diddlier, yes, but way faster. And you do get to a point where combat's not so much survival, it can be action. There's a lot of games that cover action better in the old school than you think. But most of them are fast. Not all. Nothing's perfect. But when you get to speed, there's an important factor I want to tell you about that. I know once you try it and experience it, it will be different than what you're doing now. The faster combat is, the more you feel it. I can't tell you how good of a high that is. To feel speed, to take out little actions, minus things out. Quickly do things in combat. Speed is something you feel. Oh, it brings you a lot of energy, but you feel it. The other great thing is, you don't get to spend an hour and a half in minor combat. I said that jokingly. I bet you that's not all the time, but it's a fair amount of times, isn't it? I ran 5e, so I get it. Lots of actions, lots of action economy going on there, and it just eats up time. In old school, a lot less time. It can be diddly at early levels, there's no doubt. Some games can be very much that. Some games, well, combat is sort of secondary to the experience and the feel overall of the game. You might think a lot of methods that you hear from social interaction to the rules of a place are going to be boring. But there's tension, there's on edge, and there's enjoyment in that. And when it's dangerous or something else, you feel danger. And when things are more rare than, say, consistent or constant, like there's less combat and it's dangerous, when you finally get to the danger of the fight, you'll feel it. You'll be worried. As long as it's more rare, you don't want to frequent. That kills, it spoils something. You turn something that is unique into a toy, it's no good. If you only face that thing every so often, man, when you do, it's special. And you feel it. And old school is all about you feeling the place that you're in with the character. Feeling the experience. Taking it in a way I promise you that your game does not offer you right now. But you'll assume otherwise, maybe, I don't know. But I'm telling you from first-hand experience, from doing both, no, there's something your game has where there's layers between you and a feel. You and an experience you simply cannot have. Some people that don't have much experience in the hobby, they take a mediocre experience down here and they think that's really good. For some people, they've never experienced much higher than that. But I got to tell you, for a lot of you out there, that's where you're stuck. There's an experience up here. a deep one. When you find out there's more to tabletop role-playing games than just playing a game with some action. Oh, I know. You do social interaction, you do all that, but I've got to tell you, there's something more. And there's something more that you're being cut off from. Some guys have played some old school games and they sort of forget what that's all about. I got to remind them, hey, you forget what it is back here. And there's some great games, some great ideas. There's much more of a variety of games back in the old school, the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, than there is now. That's due to competition, so many other things. But what happens is you miss them. You play one game. You don't know how big the hobby is. And there's a connection problem. Many of you only play one game, so you cut yourself off from a whole other section of people in the hobby doing other things. The only way I want to look at what we do like video games, it used to be like this. What I mean is, nobody ever just played one game. You played a variety with different people, right? You pick it up. And most games had similarities. Almost remind you of some of the similar buttons you use for a lot of video games now or PC games, where there are similarities from one game to the next. It used to be the same thing. You'll notice a lot of old school games have a very similar approach, similar feel, minor differences. Minor though. And old school might sound complicated to some people. It's not. All games are pretty simple to understand. Older games expect a higher performance effort from you. That's it. They're easy to understand. It's higher performance. Yeah, it's challenging. It has to do with talent and skill and what you bring to the table. You can get good IPs like Star Wars, or a game like Bushido about feudal Japan, or something in space, from space opera to Star Frontiers. You can check out some old Millennium games, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Or Heroes Unlimited, maybe even Robotech. I know you've heard of Call of Cthulhu, but it starts here, baby, in the old school. Or have you heard of Traveler? Whew, Traveler. There's a great game. There's a lot of great games back in the old school. So many. And they're timeless. When I say old school, I want you to forget that. I want you to think they're just good games that are just as good now as they were back then. And you won't feel like you're playing something that was old. You won't feel like you're playing something less developed than what you're doing. These games don't hold your hand. That's the big difference with what you're doing now and them. 5e does a lot of hand holding. It really does. You don't realize that. It walks you through everything. Tells you how to do things. And you do it. But hey, maybe you got more to bring to the table. Do you need to be told what to do in every circumstance, or can you figure it out? Can you? I think you can. Oh, we have apocalyptic games, Aftermath, After the Bomb. We even have Victorian romance games like Castle Falkenstein. It's endless choices, and guess what? The old D&D, it works like 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Character development, faster combat. Oh, it's more survivable than many of the meat grinders you might have heard about. In reality, most old D&D, if you play it right, isn't a meat grinder at all. It's a completely just different game. It is focused on survival, but guess what? There's a lot of tension and other things going on. It depends on roleplay, social interaction. It really does. There's elements of what you're doing. It just doesn't try to give all the meat on the bone. And to be honest, I think what you do most of the time is mind-numbing. You have accepted a mediocre experience, and you're missing out on something you can feel. Something up here. I'm not trying to insult the game that you like, but sometimes I feel like it's walked backwards. Like we came out of the cave. Whoo, look at the games we got. And 5e went, let's go back in. I'm telling you, we already came out. And so if you try the old school, you're not moving backwards. You're moving forwards. Everything that you can imagine here. Games that depend on player skill, not just skills. And then games that have skills too. It has it all. And there's lots. And you might hear some people in the old school that sound like cranky old people. Oh, look, they're a turn off even for me, to be honest. I get it. But you can ignore them, and they're a minority. The majority of people that aren't speaking up and screaming are no different than you, and they're the vast majority of people back here. You can ignore the old school YouTubers, the guys getting cranky. You can ignore them. You can ignore all those people. But when you say out loud, hey, I'm willing to try an old school game, it will blow your mind. There'll be people waiting, people lining up. Say you're somebody from the 5e world, and you want to try something. Oh, you might have heard of a Shadow Dark game. That might be a lean in. That's a good starting point. You can meet some old school people there. Right? You can. But I got to tell you, you're missing out. I think 5e has failed to deliver you what this hobby can deliver you. And I think you're really missing out. I think you look at something that is great as something that is down here. You're wrong. The experience is great. Now, what are you expected to do in old school? Invest a bit more time. Look, you don't got to do 10-hour sessions. I get it. But can you do more than 6? I think you can. I think you can do a lot. I think you do a lot now in shorter runs, but I bet you get a lot less out of those shorter runs. That's going to be my argument. And guess what? If you're not sure, I cover all kinds of different old school tabletop role-playing games on here. I stream them. I have a fact-based playlist, it's called. It's all about giving advice, covering the facts, going through the details. And it just tells you about these games, so you can learn about them on my YouTube channel. Oh, I like 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons from the TSR-era, the old school. That's my D&D. But it's not the only game I ran or played. It's not going to be the only game I ever run and play. Right? D&D is not always just my main cup of tea. I like World of Darkness. Whew. I know you've heard of that, but the old school version, sweet deal. Sweet deal. Good stuff. Worth your time. You know, in Traveler, your character can be killed off during character creation. Oh wow, how'd that happen? Okay, so you're making a character. And you can spend years of your life on things before you start the game. You want to be a lieutenant? Okay, 4 years. You roll? Well, guess what? You tried, but you died during action. There goes that character. Start again. What about real sandboxing? Pressures instead of plots. Do you know you can develop a plot during the game? You can use pressures like there's gangs down here, there's this down here, very minor things. Let players go interact with it, and you develop things from what the players do with their characters. I know you've heard of spotlighting, but it does way better. It does it way better back here. See, the things you need to be good at the game, skill-wise, are better learnt in the old school. Now again, they're hand-holding you at 5e. They're holding you back if you have talent. I promise you that. There's nothing wrong with the game you're playing, but I guarantee there's a lot of skills back here that you don't use now, that you could take back to your 5e game. That's what I did. I played D&D just like you, 2nd edition. I go play all these different games, pick up different skills, ideas. There's just so many ideas. So many things that will never be made again. Like the mutant creation with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where you're creating mutant characters, almost like you forget it's TMNT. Right? Like it's all mutant. Or what about the crazy heroes that I recently covered that you can make in Champions? A superhero game. Very crunchy. Actually might be up your alley. There's a lot of rules to that. You like rules? You got enough of them with 5e, don't you? Yeah, you do. Every kind of game is back here. Every kind of game is back here. And games that will probably never be made again. Toon. Fudge. All kinds of games. Metamorphosis Alpha. I'm just naming games now, just randomly, because there are all kinds that you missed out on. Have you heard of the Burning Wheel? Bet you haven't heard of even 5% of these games. You are missing out. What about Pendragon? Heard it's great? I covered that too. That's a real storytelling game, if you want to get into storytelling. On top of that, Castle of Falkenstein, which is Victorian romance storytelling. Real storytelling. So, my channel will introduce you to some of these games, actually all of them over time. It's good to keep track of what I'm doing. And maybe you want to widen your options. It's not like they're doing hot with 5e right now, right? And who knows what's coming out next? Why wait? There's a whole world for you to explore. These aren't like video games. It's not like old graphics game. Like, oh, that game looks crappy compared to what you can play now. That's not how tabletop role-playing games work. They work just as good now as they did then. It just needs people. Your people. And again, there's millions of people in the old school for you to connect with. There's so many reasons why we should game together and not separate. But because many of you only play 5e, we're separate. Now it's true, a lot of us will not commit to 5e. But there's all kinds of games we can try together outside of D&D. That's where we can meet. That's where we can connect. There is value there. I gotta tell you, the experience is not boring. I promise you it's not. No matter what you assume. I've tried. I've given it a chance. I know it's wild. Oh, don't get it wrong. I like action just like you. But action can get repetitive, continuous. It's the only thing you lean on at certain points in a 5e game. That's boring. There are so many other things. And I promise you, much of what you're experiencing outside of combat is down here. You think it's up here. It's down here. There's games that will take you up here. Okay. Check out my YouTube channel. Find out all about these games. Because I'm covering them all. I'm covering right now between the 70s and 1999. Starting next year, I'll start covering the 2000s, early 2000s. And there's a mountain of games. I'll never run out. I'll never run out. There's too many. I promise you, you're gonna enjoy the journey that you take here. I'll teach you what you need to know. I'll give you the advice for how to run the game. I'll tell you about how to make a character. I'll share about the setting. I'll even give you some fluff about the influence and the birth of the game, where it came from. Give you a little idea. We'll go into all kinds of things about these games. And you'll discover magic that you didn't even know existed. That's all you gotta do. Check out my streams. You'll be happy. You'll find a playlist down below. It's tabletop role-playing game facts. That's what you're looking for. Right? Go check them out. It's worth your time. I promise you.